how this association is operated. That is the duty of the board of directors. So while I'm not unopposed to the membership having the ability to change this whenever they want to, I don't support eliminating the board's ability to change this document. My suggestion at the last workshop was that it reads something like, the bylaws may be amended at any regular meeting of the board of directors by a majority vote of the directors, the proposed amendment having been submitted in writing, and put in there, or by a majority vote of the membership during an election. That puts the power that the board needs, maintains it, and it also gives power to the membership. If there's something in here that they want, that they cannot get the board to approve, then they can send out a ballot, a petition, and get it on the agenda for the election, to get it on the ballot. I cannot stress enough how much I disagree with removing the board's powers to change this document. This is the operating document, and it is the job of the board to change it. Just like the legislatures change all the statutes on how state government works and federal government works. This document is not the Constitution. That's the declarations. This document is how the association operates. So, to the last part of it, I have no issue with the latter part of it. If there is changes to changes to this document, it should be filed in a timely manner. I have no issue with that.
It's required by law.
Yeah, but the first part, I disagree with vehemently.
Brianna?
Well, I just plugged in using this formula, 67% of the total votes allocated by using our last election. We had 1,708 allocated ballots go out. Only 700, we got 624 back, but only 758 were approved. For it to be 67%, we would have to at least get back 1,144. So if this did get passed, it'll never be, you can never make a change from the membership because we don't have enough. It's 44% is what was returned. So with me filling in the numbers and using the code, there's no way. Again, when it comes to the bylaws, I mean, we're kind of seeing that. I am kind of jumping over to the declaration because the declaration has to go to the membership. I think there's too much stuff involved in the architectural. I think you have to refer to the architectural, but when you put the procedures of how to do everything in your declarations, it almost makes it impossible to make, whether it's legal changes or minor changes, when everything has to go to the membership. Our bylaws is how we govern, and I do have to agree with Dustin that it just really ties your hands. And like I said, if you don't want, my thing, like the ethics, put that in there, that you cannot change anything on the ethics part unless it goes to the membership vote. But when it actually comes to like certain tweaking of like the election or just different things that we have to kind of do on a day-to-day basis, it makes it really hard when you can only do it once a year. And then like I said, when you have a committee, like the formula doesn't even, this would make us a nightmare. It would never pass. And so we're not even in compliance. Like I said, we have to, 67% of the allocated would have been 1,144. We only got 758 back. So that's 44% of the membership. So with that.
Yeah, these are very important documents, and if we decide to go about changing them, we have to be uber conscious of the actual words that we put in here, because they matter. They matter.
Bill?
I agree with Dustin. I don't see the reason, you're gonna let the members write the bylaws. Are you gonna let the members write the rules and regulations? Are you gonna let the members write the salaries? Are you gonna, on and on and on. Like you said, as Dustin, these are the rules that were set up by the organization to run the organization. within the guidelines of the declaration, which is a legal document, I don't see why we would have to let the members vote on it. You know, you could do the thing of, okay, we're gonna change bylaw number 6. Let's have a town hall meeting, or some kind of a input from the membership. But do it internally, not with a vote.
Right, and I agree with that, and I will say again, I am not opposed to giving the membership the ability to amend this document in here. I'm all for it, but it has to be in addition to the board's ability to amend this document. The membership may find something they want to change that they cannot get the board to agree to, and the membership should have the right to say, you know what? No, we're going to make this happen. But in doing that, it's not okay to remove the board's ability to amend the document as well, because that's the job of the board.
Okay, I was at both meetings, and what came up, I think why this is the way it is, there was one person on the committee who felt strongly about the fact that the bylaw was a declaratory document. Well, it is as far as the definition of declaratory documents. However, it is not our declaration. And it says specifically in there that bylaws may not conflict with the declaration. I was not able to get the point across that the declaration is a legal document. By declaration, the homeowners association is run by a board of directors elected by the members. The board of directors is responsible for the overall association, including the bylaws. Section 209 says that changes in the declaration must be approved by the voters. However, as far as the bylaws are concerned, all it says is, however the bylaws read, that's how bylaws are changed. I agree entirely with the other 3 directors. I don't have a problem with the membership approaching the board, requesting a workshop, a petition, however we decided to make changes. It already does include the fact that the board may make any changes that are required by a change in state, federal, county, city, whatever law, and they may be changed immediately without the approval of the voter. A law change doesn't have to go for the voters, it is what it is. Also, we do not allocate votes. We send ballots to all of our members, votes are cast, and Brianna's exactly right. The way this reads, however many votes were sent, or ballots were sent to the members, you require 67%. The only thing the law addresses as far as percentages of approvals is that if you have a percent of votes cast required, the bylaws cannot be different than the declaration. The declaration does not specifically say so because the state law says 67%. So the committee was saying that it was their interpretation that we had to change the bylaws because they were in conflict with the law, but our declaration comes first, then the bylaws. And Dustin's absolutely right. The board of directors, whoever they may be, have to have the ability to adjust our governing documents to fit in with not only the law, but the requirements of the homeowners association. So as this reads now, I think we have some issues that we need to take care of before any changes are made.
And we can work this thing out.
Yes.
Like, we can get with the committee who is in theory working with the membership and make the changes and pass them at a board meeting. That's doable right now. It's not feasible, we can't do everything here by straight democratic process. This is a representative republic form of government. So the way this thing reads right now is bad business. The association is a business, and the board of directors and the GM run it as a business. This right here is a proposal that is telling the government of Fort Clark Springs that we, the membership, do not trust you to do your duty, so we are going to assume those duties for you. And that is bad business. From a purely, business standpoint, that is really bad business.
Not only that, I tried to explain, we're requiring 67% of even the votes cast is almost an impossible number to reach. So nothing would ever happen if you took the board out of it, to make sure that changes were made. So, any more comments from the directors? Alan? Okay, members?
Sandy, I was under the impression that we had stated it would be 67% of the votes returned.
Doesn't say that.
So it's total votes allocated, which we still don't.
You're saying the loss doesn't say that.
No, it says, by a vote of 60%, 67% of the total
total
votes
votes allocated
out to property
to the
owners.
property
Then
owners.
he didn't update it to what, because
Yeah,
that's what
so
we agreed
it-
on in the last meeting.
That's what I started out with.
Okay, so
And we
Not
only,
the-
we only received 44% of the total,
Right, I
We
understand that.
understand
Okay,
that.
wait,
yeah.
Yeah.
one at a time, and Senator has the floor.
We
currently.
understand that, Leanna, but the thing was that at the last meeting that we had, and I believe it was with community council, we had him talk to the people, the membership. And we had agreed then that it should be 67% of the votes returned, which makes a difference, because 67% of the 700 whatever is,
Right, because we received 824 from the election, 66 were invalid, so the only ones that we could actually count were
yeah,
758.
but 67% of
Of
that
that.
is
Right.
gonna be the majority.
Totally different. So we have two issues there, whether or not we would agree with the changes recommended, and the changes were not given to us with the language agreed upon during the workshop. So that's actually two issues. Okay, anybody else? Mr. Eber?
Two comments. Number one, I agree the board of directors is subordinate to the membership, but I think when you mail out these ballots, 51% for or against is an adequate number. And number two, the dog issue. I would love to see, right now there's a communication problem between Fort Security and the board of directors on enforcement. So I would like to suggest to the board that you come up with some type of a policy. And I don't want anything severe, I just want some type of directive coming from the board to individual violators on a very low-key basis. making
No,
them
again,
and
aware
that's
of the
rules and
problem.
regs, and that goes straight to Alan. The executive officer does rules and
I think
regs.
these things have been tried in the past. This has been going on now
Okay,
for
this is-
probably 3 years in some
This
cases.
is a bylaw issue.
There's nothing about dogs and
Mr.
bylaws.
Okay, well,
No, I
whatever
mean-
you have to do, please do it.
First of all, it needs to go to him. He works with security on member complaints. Okay. And we still have to do rules and regs because of COVID. And the ton of stuff we had to do, we have not finished with those yet. That's coming.
I just want to make sure it's part of your record.
Wait, guys.
Believe me, dog is part of our records.
Dogs.
Dogs, barking dogs.
Barking
All right,
Yes.
okay. Anything else? Linda O'Brien.
Can you repeat one more time the two major issues, the differences? I have the 67% votes cast versus 67% of the entire membership that can vote. What's the other one?
Whether or not we agreed to the language, even if that was in there, do we agree to that's appropriate for the bylaws?
Okay.
Okay.
It would say, to me, if you're gonna leave it, I would say, it would have to say, by a vote of the majority of the votes returned.
But
So the
that's
other-
not
If
state
you're
law.
gonna do it at all.
Right, the other
Yeah.
issue that I had was stripping the board's power to change it.
Right, I
didn't mind-
understand.
I didn't mind in addition to, it's the whole stripping thing.
But the 67% was what came out of the 209 document.
Okay, and where the 67% came from is that the law, it's meant to be somewhat broad, but it is confusing and can be interpreted different ways, but this was a particular person's legal interpretation, who's not an attorney, but legal interpretation. Was that, but what the law says is that if the declaration does not have a percentage of votes to pass, which wasn't put in there because the law requires 67% change in votes cast for a declaration. The bylaws can't have less of a restriction than the declaration.
Right.
And if the declaration does not specify, then the state says it has to be 67% of votes cast. So that's where the 67% came in here. We talked about that at length in there. So there's the two issues. What is presented to us is not what was told will be presented to us, and whether or not this is, we agree that this is appropriate language change for the bylaws. Okay? Like Dustin said, we can still work on it to make it so that it is what we need. And I also have no problem with members making recommended changes to the bylaws, as long as they make the bylaws better, do not conflict with the declaration, and do not favor any particular membership group over another. Okay? We're all in it. Remember, all of us sitting at this table are members. So the changes that we make affect us as well as the rest of the membership. Any more comments? Okay. All right, we can have a motion to approve, a motion to table, or a motion to go with the current bylaws as they
I
stand.
make a motion to table for further review.
Do we have a second?
This is gonna be going to a new board, correct?
I think we're gonna review it first, as a board.
Review.
My
Because-
recommendations are that we review it, write it up the way that the board thinks will fit within state law and the declaration, and present it to the membership. Other ideas are certainly welcome.
Or,
Dustin?
and when you say present to the membership, you mean give it back to the committee that's working on
No,
it?
I meant put it
No,
in
they
the
must be on the
dispatch.
ballot.
No, we don't
We're
need to
not-
put it
yeah,
in the
we're-
ballot.
We don't have,
There's nothing that says that.
It
Well,
was
that's
This
kind of the
change
whole
will
point
go
that they're
down.
trying to do, they're trying to.
Okay, well, we have some choices. We have some choices to table this and still work on it. I have a new committee started with, or accept what they've written. Or simply vote not to make any changes at this time. And we have a motion to table it, to work on it further.
You've had 3 meetings on this?
What?
You've had 3? I went to the first one, but then I was quarantined. How many meetings have you had on this?
Oh, we had more than 3.
It was 2 workshops.
Well, we have a couple of workshops, but they had several meetings.
And then,
I mean, it's an issue that's come up, so we can't just say, well, we're not gonna pay attention to it.
yeah.
We need to decide on something. We can table it and still work on it.
What
but the only thing that we
is the
came up
committee's
to-
interest in continuing?
There is an interest. We want to discuss it. We're not trying to cram anything down anybody's throat. You do realize that we were advised, I was advised, you were advised by the attorney that the bylaws have been watered down and that they should be repaired.
She didn't say watered down.
She didn't say watered down, I'm trying to be polite.
She said that she felt that the bylaws compared to other homeowners associations gave unlimited or unprecedented
Right.
authority to the directors to change. And we pointed out also to her that the board had to have the authority to change the bylaws to comply with state law changes.
What you have.
And she agreed that that was so. But she did not specifically state how they should be changed. So we need to make a decision here whether to continue to go forward, to table, to whatever.
The reason I'm asking is when we had the first workshop, Robert Money was involved in it because he was on the phone. And what we all kind of came to the census, and I'm not seeing it in any of the changes, was one of his interest was to define the election cycle. So after all these meetings and everything, we still don't have the
No, that-
election cycle.
That's been, we've addressed that, and they should be in the changes, an
It's
election
not.
cycle.
But there's, the only thing that's red in our
So you,
thing is
you didn't
just
get the
that.
last one, is what you're saying at all.
Apparently not.
All we have is the last
Oh, no.
page, yeah, of that one. So
Okay,
that's-
well, okay, if this is not the copy that was supposed to come to us, the only thing in red is this section.
It's just the
So,
last page.
it's just on the last page.
That's the
So
only
if this
thing.
is not the copy, then we wasted a lot of time today.
I don't know if it is, that wasn't my department, sorry.
Okay, the only red, change in red, and we specifically asked for it, so we didn't have to go through here. The rest of it is the same as it's
And
always
like I
been.
said, I only went to the first meeting, and I know that was the biggest contention, we didn't have that definition, and we're sitting down
Linda.
three meetings.
This is not the last copy.
Okay.
We discussed a lot of things
Yeah,
in
well, the
workshops
election cycle
that are
was
not-
definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
we hashed
So
that.
then I kind of have to agree with Bill, we have to table it until we get the actual correct, so if the committee can please give us the correct red copy, but,
I will second Bill's motion to table this until we can speak with the committee on this again.
Yes.
I'd like to.
well, that, or we could do it through email, if they want it.
No, let's just bring it out in the open, I agree with you.
I have no problem
Yeah,
talking about it.
rather than email, let's do it.
We're not gonna get anywhere if we don't talk about it.
No. Okay, we have to table, and until we get the correct
Red line.
proposal, including those items with red, right? Okay.
Yes.
All
And I'll
those-
give you this copy so you can compare it to what y'all
Okay.
have been working on.
Okay, all in favor of tabling it? Okay, all for voting to table it, one absent. The last thing we said, just to add a comment, the last thing we said is get it to us by the next board meeting and put the changes in red. This is what we got. Okay.
Okey dokey.
Okay, well, that is the last announcements. Do any members have any announcements? Okay, directors, do you have any announcements?
Do we want to set a date with them for the next meeting?
Okay.
Oh, can we set another date to be at the next meeting? Do you wanna do that, or?
I think, first of all, you should go back to a person who prepared that and explain that it doesn't appear to be the copy that should have been presented to us. And just resend it to us, and we'll schedule it for the next,
I
board
will
meeting.
schedule another work.
No, we wanna have a meeting at another,
Yeah, workshop.
yeah.
All right.
So that's, I don't, the
Well,
question,
all I was saying is that if you're not gonna make any more changes, and all you're gonna do is get us the right copy, you don't need a workshop.
Yeah, but if you're.
Unless you wanna respond to the comments we made today, is that the reason?
well, I don't know. I just think I don't think we're finished yet, is the bottom line.
Okay, well, why don't you decide when you wanna have a workshop, and we'll put it in the dispatch, and,
Well, let me check with them, and then I'll call you or somebody.
April 1st.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, no. That's good.
April Fools.
Short timer?
I know.
Okay, any other announcements? I think, the only ones we had is the tournament. I don't have anything in specific. I don't, directors, do we have anything for executive session?
I do not.
I do not.
Wait, we don't have anything for
Executive session?
we're talking about like just bypassing? Like not-
If we don't have
There's
any,
no-
if there's nothing to discuss,
There's nothing in it.
Show you the new lights.
well, we'll go see the new lights. Oh, I do want to give credit here where credit is due before we leave. Please go around, there are lights on at the adult center on the outside now at
Turn
night.
the switch, yes.
Yes, turn the switch on and off. There are lights out in front that have been fixed. There are new sconces on the walls in the courtyard up here, and you're gonna be changing these out as well.
There are lights on
Mr.
the
Peterson has gotten RGE and the other.
AEP.
Never remember that. AEP out to repair replace bulbs in streetlights. They're pushing hard to get light fixtures.
Thank you, appreciate that.
So I just want to give you credit. So when we leave here at night, there will be lights on. Okay, unless the directors have something that we should discuss in executive session, we have nothing planned for it. Do you have anything you want to discuss?
No, no,
You sure?
I'm good. I think we're done enough.
All right, there will be no executive session. Can I have a motion to end this long meeting?
Before we adjourn, I would like to mention that the next regular meeting is February 17th at 9:30 in the boardroom with new lights.
Thank you for that. I move to adjourn the meeting.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, those in favor? Meeting is adjourned at 12:41.
Yeah, he wanted to impress you guys. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Go back and see the new lights. They are cold. Yeah, other keys. And they have all their things.
And they have driplets of soul. Yeah, see, I like those.
Yep, you know where I got them? You know where I got them from? Jan Metcalf out of here.
Okay.
Oh, you got it in Fredericksburg? I didn't know that. She just said you got mine in Fredericksburg.
Buy everything in Fredericksburg. Or Birdie. Fredericksburg,
Or you can get them on, really, you can get them online.
That's, yeah, and then the light, I watch them on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're really last forever.
Yeah, I'm real happy. All right. I'm not creating no trouble with all those. That's fine. Good day, another dollar.
So what'd you name your little dog?
Yeah, priority.